And also, when Priya, also you did mute. You don't have to mute.
Okay.
Okay.
I also have.
Yeah, I have some tea. Everyone have some tea, coffee, whatever you have. That'd be nice. You know, we have to talk very long time.
Very long time. How long?
Maybe 1.5 hours. It's okay.
You
Wow.
said just 5 minutes to me. You said just 5 minutes, so I'm going to take only 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Right?
Okay. Touch delay.
Geshe Tenley.
Good morning, everyone. Today, the telling also, any nete deve lukjia, any galon ni dente shuche, any ngado ta nete deve ge lukya, any ta chumsan kimega nalaya, namju nanchu nyamle kare nagayowa. Tana jing gende namasoya, any matan kiminala pa pepche, any shapten kare kare chigayowa. Any tana jing pena takanji, and musu kimi ngaro pewa imbayina, any pewega matan kimaga nala ngazo chig. 냠내 나여와 직접대 제야당 차차야당 거로거 되는 어다 된적을 로소베나 내된 대회를 가려요 몇 걸어야만도 아니 내된 대회에 아니 로 결혼이 되는 수준으로 되고 돌리 쉬어도리 today we're going to discussion about the Theravada tradition, the families, the what they do pray, what they do daily practice, also the monks go to their house, what do they do and the pujas and the prayers. We're going to discussion that and today. Lasso get the today. Now I would like to tell Venerable Pragyalok, can you do introduce yourself 2 minutes?
Okay, Venerable Geshe, thank you for inviting me to joining this special group discussions. And so I'm from Nepal. I was born in 1957, and I got my ordination in 1977. And I studied under my teacher about 2.5 years. And he gave me the permission to go to Thailand to have the further studies. And I studied in Thailand 2.5 years. And I completed in 1982 high school in Thailand. And after that, I got the opportunity to go to Sri Lanka for the higher studies. And I joined so-called Dhammachakra Institute of that is the higher studies. So I did there about 2.5 years, completing the postgraduate. And from there, I started training young monks from Nepal. Up to 2019, I joined the Buddhist and Nepali University, where I got my bachelor and master degree. And so I keep on working on the International Bhikku Training Foundation, which I established in 1985. So under that program, I trained and educated over 30 monks. And so I stayed about 15 years in Sri Lanka. And I came to England in 1998, where I served about 2 years at the Buddha Dhamma Society in London, established by the Indian Buddhists. And in 2000, I came to the United States and joined Lesley University, where I completed my postgraduate or master degree in education. I also completed my PhD at the Sanskrit University in Benares. That is so-called Sampurnananda Sanskrit University. I graduated in 2011, and I also established this monastery in 2006. This temple name is so-called International Sakyamuni Buddha Vihara and Vipassana Center. And this is the place where I am doing my religious service. I'm practicing my own traditional monastic life. And this is how I have been enjoying associating with our Tibetan Buddhists, Tibetan Sangha, and Bangladesh Buddhist community, Cambodian, Laosian, Vietnamese, Burmese, and so on. So this is all about me.
Dr. Priya Rakkhit Sraman Nansung, Dubiche Shuchoji. Number 3 day Pevalia, Nimun Gadinchi, Na Yons de Payu Nayi, Chidung Gimadunga Gulolia, Kingo Tindi, Chidung Dundulolia, and the Kitudum Batubi. And the net Thailand, Loni the Cherachin, Nanjuganya, Lomnida, India, Kuba Rajum. And the Jelia, Chelshipung, Genulolia, Singularlia, Chinche, and the Chubu Colossian Sinagatanda, Shudojinalia, to Lomnicia Chung, Shudosna, and the Tula Hansinalia. And the Shugoya Tigelia, Turim Lopin to the Lachin, Jondache, Yadon Gulolia, Payulia, two Loyonje, Payulia, Tandana, Zumarambe, and Biek Lopinche, then a Payugi and Andelomni Kanya. 지금 계속 경영론이야 이 정다팀의 레지도제 긴급팀들이야 반낭주 정다제 구급라송 근데 로주영지 단데 스랑카야 신체제 이게 양낭출입니다 체리체야 구급지 중송 지금 계속 경영론이야 인진농들이야 단다 최고 콜르 최소 내지리야 단대자니 니 낭슈기 체리다 롬니팅의需要중 니동어리아 어리리아 주연제 단능한조 심주로만다 아니 저기 롬니팅의 시야 그거 중소 되네 단도 워르너스기 렉자 줄라라르 치몰이야 이 분명히 롬니체니 니동주지로리아 롬팅 중소 니동 줄로네 단다 배율이야 아니 계지 샤규문이 최도도체 차듯이제 비해야 단다 무투는 단주 단다 재배시야 내가 지금 근데 단다 어릴이야 이내리 대신 그 단어의 비교 낭den기 아블롬니와 남다 도스 저와촌에 낭주고를 tin데 저와 지금 대신 방글라데시다 캄보디아 베트남 바르마 제기 어느 낭주 긴집남이 보야 한도체 최저 저와도 제제 무투 어느 파주 돌린 지금 Thank you very much.
Thank you. Honorable Priya.
So it's my turn now.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Geshe Tenley, for inviting me today to this interesting discussion. So my name is Priya Rakkhit Sraman. I am originally from Bangladesh, Chittagong. And I left home when I was 11 years old. I went to Sri Lanka. There I studied Buddhism and Buddhist languages, Pali and Sanskrit. I finished my high school in Sri Lanka in 2008. Then I went to Thailand to do my bachelor's degree. So in Thailand, in Mahachulalongkorn Rajavidyalaya University, I studied for 4 years, doing BA in Buddhist studies. After that, in 2013, I went to the University of Hong Kong for a 1-year Master of Buddhist Studies degree. Then after finishing that degree, I went to Harvard Divinity School in 2014 and finished Master of Divinity degree. During that time, I studied Buddhist chaplaincy in the university and many other ways of service doing Buddhist ministry. Then in 2016, I joined Tufts University chaplaincy, where I'm still working to teach and practice and educate about Buddhism, Buddhist practices to the students and other people in the Tufts University community who are interested in Buddhism. And after coming to Boston, I have also connected with many other Theravada Buddhist traditions and also Mahayana Buddhist traditions, such as with Venerable Panyaloka Bante and the Cambodian tradition, Burmese tradition, Vietnamese traditions, Tibetan traditions, also the Taiwanese Buddhist traditions, who all of them have Buddhist centers in Massachusetts. And occasionally I also work with the Bangladeshi Buddhist community in Boston, going to do Buddhist services in their houses or observing other religious ceremonies together.
Can I ask one question? When you said 2016 Chaklan, so this is which country it is?
So 2016, I joined Tufts University. It is in Somerville, Medford.
Tufts University.
Yes, Tufts
yes,
University chaplaincy.
Chaplaincy, okay. Gotcha, thank you, Tufts. Number two, Shobudele, Geshe Tenley laga talende kugam nanchise, Manzulia Nangshu Dolenche, Gab Sambu Stepson, Geshe laga dinche, na Payu di Bangladesh ni Bangladesh tande Chitugong, ni di Rigu ni Younger Tindaji. Ani Sri Lanka lia Lojuchi Shinche, Pia Tandanga, the Lujing Lopjun Chebi, and Dene Dinimboya Nangshu. Get in the Jan Kugason, and you don't get Lolia, and looking 20, and Thailandia, and the Labrishime, Nurambelaki, the Toloni Cheche, and Olopin Chunsun, you don't just some Lolia, Hong Kong Labrishimolia, Chimjulome, Lomicia Kugatin de Rason, and then you don't choose Lolia, Harvard University, and Nandengi, the School of Divinity, and Mudulopjun Chen, Dinimbo, and the Church of Joy, Lomnida, and the Church of Shamdishu in the Kuga Chunsun, Nyadun Julolia, and chaplaincy, and the Nanjulomni, Lupicia, and Nanshu Shepshu in the Kuga Chunsun, Boston Yubegavia, and also Neden developed, taking Lugi, and Nandengi, Chuguzin to the Nimbo Joazun. Nangshu Tolia Pazu, Shepshu, that in the Kuga Chunsun. Any Tishindu and Tanda Angaranzo that Nangbe, any Chigu the Jinjapa, Bena Cambodia, Burma, Vietnam, Taiwan, Tindeg in Boya, and to Jing Nangshu that Joy to Shimutu, to just Javashu you. And Dene Niezo Yang Tandi Bangladeshi, Nepingo, Nanganamlia, and Mixig and Nangshu Shepita, Kimdana, and Nangshu that and Lomnicia. Shortened Chunsun, and Tibetian.
Tujina, thank you, Venerable Pragyalok and Venerable Priya. Also, thank you for Tenzin Gelek for translating that. 다 드링아도 아니 델라야 아니 네데디 아니 경험이 되는 수제 아니 간도 직다 트바만다와 아니 시행하지 거라야 아니 돌리 되는 치와이 아니 거라야 아니 에 경험이가 딱 고랑이 남주 냠뇨다 또네야 아니 단대시 동호스레 아니 좀 그래 변화로 나셔 드네.
Today, the Guru. Today we have invited Venerable Priya and Venerable Pragyalok to share with us the practices that the ordinary people do carry out in household among the Southeast Asian Buddhist followers. We are incredibly happy to have you, Venerables. And so we start with the prayer service, right, Geshe? So today we will start with the questions, and we requested the Venerables to really join us and share their knowledge and experiences. And so we will pose these questions, and then we invite the Venerables to answer these questions.
나도 저와 담보됨 두수인세. 아니 내대 대회 루지 아니 참사나 다 니레 아니 미치마서 아니 다 나주 냠네 간이 나 그래서
So the first question is how the Southeast Asian followers practice Buddhism at home. What kind of the rituals, the prayers, the practices that commonly they implement in daily life.
The lay people. 담보 되고래야 아니 번보 빠져라고야 아니 가만히 숨쉬서 오나로나.
So first, we would like to invite Venerable Pragyalok to share your insight to these questions.
Yeah, that's very good questions anyway. When you talk about the Southeast Asian countries, especially in the Theravada, now myself also practice in the Theravada tradition, even Priya Rakkhit, Venerable Priya Rakkhit also in the Theravada tradition. So likewise, we have 5 Theravada countries. So Sri Lanka also practice Theravada tradition, Burma, Thailand, Cambodia, and Laos. These are the 5 Theravada countries where we will find the officially they have the Theravada traditions. So no matter where we are, when we talk about the Theravada traditions, we follow the Pali traditions. So all these 5 countries, although we have original our own language, but when we do our prayer, chanting, we follow the Pali language. That's what we believe believe as the original language, original teachings of the Buddha. So
maybe Venerable Priya Pragyalok, he can translate that. Tenzin Gelek murchesha.
Lenje so le chemju ye ani tanden ngaran theri de zo jolin xue di yin dang an zu di Theravada neden develop ani di nangchu nyamni chinya ji da chu xie ne ji mun ne de na dang an zo di sangge ga ani tumung che ani ngaran zo neden develop da di mima diga manche pese di Sri Lanka da Bangladesh Thailand di게 내도 수픽이 그래. 말아도 난주 근데 지금 셰주 주변날이야. 더 넘겨 쪽 이게 배주다 디 발리제 딘도 맞죠 지금 발리 주규 진행 지금 아니 소수지 그래. 말아도 지금 돈버돈비 내지 몰럼ገብ이 내리 디급이야. 이 조디 발리제. 그 디리들 양아란도 수수수 베게 유보다 넘겨 지가란도 수수는 베게 배주던 그래. 아니 단도 조 단도 닝두 인데 지
Okay. Venerable, go ahead. Continue.
So we have monastic life as a monks. We have to follow what the Buddha has laid down, the disciplinary rules. Especially for monks, we have 227 disciplinary monastic rules. So we, all the Theravada monks, follow the same discipline. We don't want to say tradition, but these are the monastic disciplines we as a monks must follow. Beside what country we are from. So we have to follow the same discipline, monastic discipline. But as far as for the lay people, now beside the monks do their daily chanting in the morning and noon and evening, we have the daily chanting, especially as I said in Pali language, we have many sutra chanting. And that sutra chanting depend on the monastic to monastic, monastery to monastery, country to country. So it doesn't matter, but based on all those chantings are from the Tripitaka, so-called Sutta Pitaka, Vinaya Pitaka, and Abhidhamma Pitaka. These are the three major Pitakas or literatures that we see in the Pali language or Pali Buddhist teachings. And for the lay people, we encourage to come to monastery at least once in a full moon, new moon, and a half moon. So we have the 4 moons for a month. And so we encourage them to come to morning. And so we have the full day program. And starting with, on the moon days, of course, lay people, we encourage them to observe the 8 precepts. And any other ordinary day, they can observe the 5 precepts. So these are the basic practice in a monastery and the basic practice for the lay people.
당한주 낭배 쉰집지인배 차네 지단지 두어즈임지인비는 말한도 용자다 디치고거래 수짐도 송야데 송지도 니긴 있었도 다딩 말한도 두어즈임도 용자체 디슈가야다 디 말한도 디 수짐도 니 대비는 객진다 테레비다 니졸로 배진 투문을 했음도 단도 도에 되죠 봐 송지지 이긴 있었든지 근데네 말한도 다대야 김장규는 더 겨우남을 차샤비는 지단직 균벌이야 쇼게다 권다 참는 인구야 말한도다 물론 개비하다 냠년시야도 주주조지고 쇼게 직체 직체라 주도다 권다 디가블이야다 말한도 대야도 강로 빨리게 더딘데 둥데 연부되면 그것도 있나 아니 지단 용자리야 덤버도야 디 게이디 발리다 발리도 덤버 디직비체 이내에 초가 가르되면 된다 덤버 가르되면 된도 공부네 공부 개념을 개가 파서는 캐바데스 연구도 그래서 당연히 직 소소 용자 개ገብ로 알아봐 다 이내에 지금 말한도 제제톤에 대비는 상물로 직직이한데 단도 상계가 되는 순날에 저 뒤죠 봐 디나네 안직도 디 되는 두에 되는 원배 되는 디게다 시진지 디나네 아니지 발리기나야 초가 강루 다 개급 소소다 지금 공부금 소소게 아니 차린 초가 차린 딘다 나지제 모두도 드리게서네 도 냠는 것도 아니 말한도 지금 김부도 들려 차샤비는 조디 냠내치야 뒤주디 먼저 제베주영아 야면지 제베직 제베게 진짜리야 아니 조슈geb세 디닝가데다 럽추는 닝강 관벌야초 덴디슈 김부소 안 디나야 지금 아주 몰음 개비하다 다 초고되야다 디제 지요래 안 디만 세지게 또 넘규만 안주 개치쇼지기 냠니 치야디 소다도 봐 단다디 동거줘야다 소다도 또 냠니 치야 원디기 챌린저리 디 챌린지 당한조디 테라바다다 네덴 데벨로날이야 숙치쇼지다 용접지래
그래서 단다 대 세시죠. 당한조 변에 표제 나한테 제와이나 아니 다 개론지 바나 아니 좀 이장 같이 납중 낙섬 어들이 송을 당한조 대 장가들이 제반도 많이 올라요.
For the Tibetan the bhikkhus, we have to observe about 253 precepts. So it seems there's a little bit of difference in terms of the numbers of the precept that we have to observe.
아니 단다 파시 5 precepts said 파시 아니 개념이 더 많면로 아니 만조야 배제 나한테 일러야 아니 지금 딱 미자 본무서야 개념이 더 마셔 로서지요.
Then when the Venerable mentioned about the 5 precepts, and for us, this is the basic 5 rules of the Upasaka.
Yeah, this that's for the upasakas. Upasaka and upasaka, that means for the lay followers.
Yes.
And you said that in Tibetan tradition, you have 253.
Yes.
The monastic rules for the monks, right?
Yes.
And in Theravada tradition, we have 227.
Right.
For the bhikkhunis.
Right.
For nuns, we have 311.
다 탄다 디르도 디 우버스케디 말한서 탄다 기년디 직벌도 만져야 탄다 기년도 못들에 탄다 동방나수미야 저봐 자와도 봐 다단데 디 만다드 가르도스나 만조 기수비도 동부 저봐 비쿠스 gelong로 봐
마마 gelong마
말이 녀데야 탄다 디 저봐 만조 기수 저봐 이 비규낭데야 송야디 니김럽 중에 숨르도와 만주디 gelong데
gelong로
니김럽 중에 숨르도와 만주디 니기 니슈잡든지 단 gelong마디 미나
말에 만조들이야 아니 니장업 중 악삼치 콘소 아니 내대 되라 니장업 중 앞대 소리도
말 니기 니슈잡든
언니제 니슈잡든
아니 되네 야디 만주 gelong마기 송지디 딜레망요 숨기 죽지
어떤 건조 다른 건조 섬자라지요.
For the Tibetan bhikkhunis, it's also same. We have about over 300 precepts.
이나다 드링 건조 될 반도 해면 다 드링 내가 또데 건조 다 무사 끼매겠네. 다 되고라야 나 미자 다 미자 소소가 배나 다 자와 고쇼들 소소 나를 매와 얘나 아니 미자 소소가 아니 나라야 단 주념에 가르나 그래 디콜라야 아니 뭐 비약식 소나다.
So today we are not going in detail about the precepts, and especially for the bhikkhunis, we'll stop here. And what we like to really ask Venerable Priya is when there is no venerable for the householders, when there is no the sangha members to help there, what kind of practices they carry on?
Thank you. First of all, I want to say what Venerable Pragyalok and Ven said about the Theravada traditions in Asia. You mentioned Southeast Asia. Southeast Asia is basically Burma, Thailand, Laos, Cambodia. If we talk about Bangladesh and Nepal, we have to say it's South Asia.
South Asia,
sure. Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, India, Nepal. But it's all Theravada tradition, so more or less it's very similar practices. Basically what Venerable Pragyalok and Ven said is common in all traditions of Theravada in any country. The observance of the full moon, half moon, new moon, and all of those 5 precepts and all of those. One thing I want to add is that whether lay people, they go to the temple or not, every day, especially in Bangladesh, I have observed that every day in the morning and evening, they chant in front of the Buddhist altar in their houses. So they would offer flowers, food, water, candles, incense, and perform the prayer, recite chantings, again Pali chantings in front of the Buddha. And if they have time, also do meditation. Is common every day. And this is the thing is, if they are unable to go to the temple, they would continue to practice this every day, morning and evening. And as much as possible, they would try to practice the 5 precepts. On special occasions, when they go to the temple, they would observe the 8 precepts, but on a regular basis, the basic practice is observance of the 5 precepts at home.
주제나 다 당고대야 니에 단다 광리아 디 안조 이 구쇼 프렌치로기 좀 난다 체제 다 시당 아람조 디 테르바다 이네 네덴 데벨로리아 더 용계기 냠예치네 농부도조 다 광리 쉬운 난다 체제 땡기 로자와게 디송송아 홀 shallow Asias. Shallow Asia chevni dinalia payuda gaga Bangladesh chuyo mar dindu ho Asias lamni yagme rosung dus. Ho Asias chevni dinalia Burma, Thailand, Cambodia, Vietnam, Bangladesh dine payu gaga diga gang diga 상물로 ane nganzu dichinyare. Da neden debelu nyamne chinyeche. Neden debelu nyamne chiya da ganda jig ningudi 용기야 다 투문제. 상물로도 상계이고도 냠미치기요래 아니 남규직 말한조 이 광리아디 위셔 판출로 수능다 제제 냠미치야 조디 김장날야 땅 말한조 직 세상 교산서로와 냐게 강준도 알야 아니 직 김장날야 다직 쇼게 다 권다조 아니 베나마도 남규이나 용다도도 제부종도 바이나 김부초 권벌야 페이지죠 권변날야 다 초법휴 아니 지기 메도마메 티제 되게 퓨 아니 덴베 다 근데 군인 딘도 아니 지금 더 돼야 다 몰음게야디 체 능규 건벌리 편이이나 양지 건벌리 페이먼트제 싱갈 슈니 임비나 싱갈날야다 소스 김단날야 최shum 제디체 디날야 조드 덴베 구체 엔디dun야 초비 갸침부 퓨 아니 도체 몰음돼야 원진제치래 엔디급량 아주 용다 가르치르슨 베샤샤비나 디 세브중도 바 힘비는 개념게다 소소 domballian chorba 디나야다 말아서 개념 dom바 nga 야 참지구도 점바 dom바 게 스니안 지기 디초래 지금 개념이야 kum시지 요래 원진데 지래
단다 개념의 dom바 세대 당가서 배제 나되나 테마 찍래나 아니 저기요 다테 메세 코로나때 대소다 가도 배나 자바랍도 쇼나 메시지라 코랍도 dom바 손드나 코 지금 되게 된다고 개념의 dom바 세대 패시당한 노르메바이나 아니 직 담벌레 사바나 아니 니마 딱바 양주 랭고 메버서도 같은데 요래 아니 단다 내내 데빌레 파지 니마 딱바 랭고 서로
So I have a question, Venerable Priya. For the 5 precept practices, for the Tibetan tradition, it's just like a lifetime. If you check it once, so basically you have to observe this for the rest of your lifetime. It seems in the Theravada tradition, you can receive this as many as possible, sometimes even in daily basis. Is that the case?
Yeah, well, this is true. In Theravada tradition, I think it's true in all, when we talk about Buddhist practice in general, it's the 5 precepts are the very basic, the universal practices. And once we call ourselves Buddhist, we are supposed to adhere to these 5 practices for lifetime. What happens in our tradition is that every time we have a ceremony or a religious service, the ceremony begins with taking refuge or going to refuge for the triple gems, Buddha, Dhamma, Sangha, followed by taking precepts, right? So it is not that you are taking the precepts newly again, it sort of works as a reminder, right? So every ceremony starts with the taking of refuge and the precepts, and then it continues, right? So you are already a Buddhist, but why is it necessary for you to take the refuge again at every ceremony? So it's not necessarily you are taking refuge again, or all of that. It is just a practice of remembering and reminding yourself of what is your purpose, what is your priority in the spiritual life. And it is, I think it is true, talking about human nature in general, that it is possible to break some of the precepts on your, in your daily practice. So what happens is that if by any chance unconsciously you have broken a precept, or forced to break a precept, so these kind of occasions helps you to strengthen that practice again, so that you get another sort of chance to emphasize that no, you cannot lose your mindfulness. You have to practice well.
Sure. 단대딩 만조 기실라가 숨는다 체제 나란주들이 다 단디 개념 동블레야 줘봐. 개념 동부터天气 수비는 다 체크한 더 럽주송고야디 맞아 투무르샤. 먼저 다가란지 개념 동부 天气 수비는 다디 메지직 송야체. 다 단디 만자야의 가리어였으나 나란주 더 남기 아니 수수 김단을 냠내치고 봐. 냠내치도 좀 도마 아니 감조 군주 숨이야 다 간다지 겹스 줘야. 안 딘님보야 감주 쉬고야 아니 양자 지기 단디 개념 동부터 쉬야 금시 된대 저래. 다디 개념 동부 쉬부디 진짜 말에 지 가소래天气 쉬 양선이의 天气 쉬 mem제 토마 天气 쉬 사스는 딱 거기 메드직 아니 냠내치야체. 딘도 년다르 저거지 개념 동부터 지 쉬베가블랑 또 동부 라스치야지. 개디베샤샤는 거랑도 다 지금 시원하다 진짜 괜찮네. 아니 동부도야 냠매 준비는 아니 초고된데다 딱 세부중 된데야 초고수가 양자 개념 동부지 준비는 근데 거랑도 동부지 라스치야야. 다디다 지그래 먼저 감도다 거랑도 감도 년다를 좀 거 봤어. 근데는다 거랑도 그뒤 지 냠년 체험에 담고 개념 동부도 소 라스치야 줘 봐. 이 군시디 디 테르바다 로리아 단 테르게세 무주는 냠년나 데스레스
땡큐 다때 빼야고 있었대 나 너무 도바사 되게 왔대 그래다 이나도 다때 야고 싶어 투지 체스 아니 단다데 가쇼로 근데 나도 배제나데 봐나 아니 쇼케 다 미서 미kim바이다 쇼케 야라 아니 컨트롤은 초바피 아니 다 메토다 푸다 데 가리페나 연차피 아니 샤타 아니 수수 잠루 아니 지 제야다 아니 지 샘제 돈발내 드리는 것도 이루야 냠네 담면서 담 그러고 담 미차 기미가 아니 참참선을 그드는 요요하러 그래 Are you mood? Tenzin Gelek? You mood yourself?
로기실라 you need to get well.
You did your shot there.
So thank you so much, Venerable. This is really very enlightening to hear, because I had a really kind of a question about that thing. I wonder whether the Theravada practitioners kind of check this precept daily basis, and now it's very clear the way you and in the same way for the Tibetan practitioners, in the morning we get up, we prepare our offerings, and then we start with the refuge and thinking about the qualities of the triple gem and so on, and that's also very common between the Theravadins and the Mahayanas.
And the Tanada Chazo Tanda and the Domba Jess and the Pache Nanzu Lulaya and the Teche Sojo Domba Sejire and Temangan and the Nienega Domba and the Paja Chiba in Pache Tachu with the Pache Nienega Domba the Mando.
Then when you mentioned about the 8 perceptions, the precepts, and this for us, sometimes we call this a Mahayana precepts, or when we do observe a special retreat, And we, on the retreat, sort of, when we practice a special retreat, the practices, very strict practices, and we receive these 8 precepts. Maybe that's what I think it is.
And then the 8 precept there and don't make a show on the song, take Kolaya, Venerable Pragyalok.
We would like to invite Venerable Pragyalok to clarify which sutra really talks about the 8 precepts.
8 precepts we can find elsewhere, not in the particular sutra. There is no so-called particular sutra. This is 8 precepts, right? But when we talk about we as Venerable Priya Rakkhit rightly mentioned that we have the 5 precepts on any other ordinary day that we have to put into our practice. And 8 precepts, as I mentioned earlier, we observed, we let the devotees, we encourage devotees to observe only on the full moon day, new moon day, half moon day. And so this is what, because ordinary people, when they have the life, they have a much more social life. So therefore, it will be difficult for them to have the 8 precepts in the daily life. So therefore, so we encourage devotees when they come to observe 8 precepts. Of course, now when you talk 8 precepts, addition to 5 precepts, the number third is different. 5 precepts, when you take the 8 precepts, the number third one is different. In the number third, in the 5 precepts, we talk about, now let us say, I abstain from killing, first one. Second one, I abstain from stealing. Third one, I abstain from sexual misconduct. Fourth one, I abstain from telling lies. And the 5th one, I abstain from taking any intoxication. So these are the 5 precepts. But when you take the 8 precepts, the number third you have to change. Number third, you have to abstain from sorry, abstaining from having the sex with, and so that is the, we have to be celibacy on that day. Not to mix with a man, woman with a man, and a man with a woman. So on that day, completely away from having a kind of sex on that day. So that is the 8 precepts. When you talk about the 8 precepts, number 6 one is in Theravada traditions. We observe taking food before 12 o'clock. For the monks, every day they have to practice not to take any food after 12 o'clock. We have the time limit by the 12 o'clock. And for the lay people also, we encourage them to observe, not to take food after 12 o'clock. That is the number 6. And the number 7, not to have the sensual entertainment. So as I said, that the lay people, they go for the party, they go for the cinema, they go for so many other social entertainment, dancing, singing, any other sensual pleasure. And so on that day, not to have singing, not to have any musical instruments, not to have dancing, not to have the garlands, not to have the perfumes. like that, no any other this worldly enjoyment. And number 8, not to have the higher seat. So that means to be humble and sleep on the floor, not on the higher bed and not on the higher cushion or something like Uttasana Mahasana. So that is I abstaining from sitting higher seat. That is to be humble, humble to the parents, humble to the elders, and to be lover to others, sitting lover to others. So these are the 8 precepts that we encourage lay people to, join for their spiritual development.
Thank you. 나 단다 기실라야 쉬엘이야. 먼저 디 송지게 줘 봐. 동백에.
라라.
동백에디 지단지 딘데지르샤. 이제 저단디 능균을 한도 송지 동방아 줘 봐. 이 개념도 봐. 아니 딩나디간이야. 그 개치쇼도 가려서 능균한도 소주 마진리 메잔주 둔차. 이게 나보다 봐. 다디간이야 동백에스 두점바 이 능규 뭐라도 소주 맞은 미잔주디 지금 수주 사자 메인번 뭐야 로임 제초면 용스고 봐. 다 동백에 들린백을 디즘 마세지 디 님어대야 다간다 지기 뭐라도 유지 자원인의 제초 말했어. 디 님배직차 아니 디간이야 아니 초부디 가르였으나 님군 gemne 수지 쇼초 말했어. 지금 먼저 지기 긴급 남아있는 관다 수지 번거 봐. 당아도 동백에 들림백을 미cáo 인비네래 추주 중립의 지엘이야. 아니 수지 자원이나 맞춰야 된다 kum지죠. 그랬어. 전에 네가 뇌배지 가려였으나 듬버디 먼저 지 견주 방법. 견다 르모 안틴데지도 발야 파티다야스인데는 미cáo 인비나 인인가대야 따직 시에샤로 처리하다 견지 고야다 따직 롱주 소화되게야 돼서 방야 직체 아니 개버디 따직 니지다 tinde가냐 말씀지제 세간 년도 조디 상가라도 님중다 직하소르디 뽑아 나게 tin데 마이야 tun돌에 인인가대 시신도 원디 아니 개버들의 예수도
제가 직벌에 간도 태제 소주고 된 발은 나한테 집어 지자래.
So venerables, this is exactly same in our Mahayana precepts.
Yeah.
Those 8 precepts just you have mentioned, that's exactly what we also observe.
나도 쇼게 추수에 땅하고 라페 르모르 말인살라 야샹지 아니 돈바데 모소소 라마살실래 아니 다 니만 년가든다 다 소야도 집어 지잖아야 되샤 아니 다 추수니 잡식도 말고 자기래.
So this is exactly the same thing. When we receive the 5 precepts, we kind of forget around dawn when we can vaguely see our handprints. And then we receive the vow from our gurus, the teachers.
제자 안에 어디지? 단다 안에 원보 반jal로 그때 미세가 돈베가 송 아니 도들나 요래 송으로 요 말어 송으로.
관다 유송도 단다 지금 믹스기 돈베게 tin데 순샤베 순득가베 도tin데 요 말이스. 이네 상계가 돈 망번날이야. 아니 돈베게 또 순그레스.
그래서 오케이 다 두지 다 저 심하게 두지. 다 가세간도 양 두지 막 먹고도 아니 미시 좋아하는 내 때들 다 미상 끼마게 미쳐 보면 좋아하나 아니 근데 봐서 다 샵대 가르쳐 그래 아니 니마 가세 너 그래.
We like to move to the next question. When somebody passed away, so when they invite the Sangha members, what kind of the practices and the prayers that you perform? So
you are asking me or
either one, yeah. Okay.
Maybe we invite both of you.
I would invite Venerable Priya Rakkhit to come forward and talk about what he would like to say about this death ritual in Theravada tradition.
Yeah, if someone passing away.
Yeah, if somebody passed away. Can Priya Rakkhit come forward?
Yes, I came forward. What happens is that when someone passes away, there is something called sangadana that the lay people, the relatives, they have to offer to a group of monks. So this sangadana means offering to the sangha. Sangha is generally understood in the Theravada tradition. In terms of this practice, it is understood as more than 4 monks. 4 monks or more makes a sangha, right? So for this particular practice, there has to be more than 4 or more monks, fully ordained monks, and there is the sangadana has like certain items, specific items, around 8 items, right? That the relatives have to prepare and offer to the sangha in memory of the person who just passed away. Okay.
Maybe you can translate that.
The 8 precepts.
No. Now maybe Tenzin Gelek he can translate. Otherwise,
Okay.
yeah.
다단다 디 미잔지나야 아니 미팅의 정비는 만주디 테라바드 기념에 가르치기를 했습니다. 전부터 개치쇼데 디닝가디 긴두브 덴디쇼레스. 당가란도 긴두브 데 송도와. 긴두 데 송도만 융쇼레 긴두브 시 덴디쇼지 긴두브 시 준비는 응가란도 긴두 긴두브 데스 상그레스. 이 긴두디 시 덴디쇼지제 아니 디나야다 처벌피야다 몰음되야다 진짜게 초경는 그래스 더 디닝가데 개시쇼데 말한조 차긴 가래서는 이제 게지 상구요스 차긴 게지 아니 디네디 기실라가 차긴 게데 가르르만 마순로 지송송 please can you continue to give us the age the must preparations that you have to
Yeah, so this is like a tradition, okay? This is like a tradition that needs to happen. So the 8 are, including robe and alms bowl, baking bowl, and razor, and something called to strain the water, like water strainer, sewing needle, needle to sew clothes. And robes. There are different kinds of robes. What happens in the ceremony for someone who passed away is that I have seen people offering umbrellas also. So I think Banda Panyaloka can come forward and elaborate on this, the need for umbrella. I'm not very sure about the need for umbrella, but it's very unique thing that happens only during ceremony for people who passed away, that they offer umbrella also. So after this, when in this ceremony, the monks come, they give talk on that, they give talk on teachings and practice, but they also recite. There is a specific chanting text in Pali that is recited only during death ceremony or memorial service. It's about impermanence.
Yeah. Can you remind me what was the first one before arm bowl?
So there is the arm bowl, and
that's the first one.
So it doesn't really matter first or second. I will just say to you 8. So the alms bowl, 3 robes, right? So there is 4 now. Right. Alms bowl, 3 robes. There is the razor. There is a water strainer, and there is sewing needle, and there is also a belt.
Bell.
Yes.
Belt or bell?
Belt.
Okay. 다단데 디르샤 권량안조 김잔틴데 날야 다 미총수는 도발야 최저 삼지 수가 좋으라 이거야 그런데 지라tin데 내가 게 저지 저랬어 아니 디나네 당부대야 말한도 홍시 저지 저랬어 아니부대야 디르샤 아르샤 여러분 저지 숨부대야 컵 시부대야 타과 나부대 니도 아니 주부대야 단다 기라여 봐 기라체 아니 디가냐 타부대 타부 숨 저지 저봐
타바테 타바면서 말 아니
로
gelong 단다 남자 추구 남자도 돼 추구 남자 탕구세
아 탕부를 왜 타부 말을 로
타부 말.
네네네네 이래 본다
나는 숨
얘네디 남자한다 이게
근데 숨도
이라도 되나 아니디
아니 치사 치세서 치사
얘네디 추자체 어디게 디셔서 디나네 아니 니도디 가르치네 배조된 그 유매디 아니 가도 돼야 디 구셔 판슬로를 제시해기로나 쉬어인스 디나래 계시쇼들 가르스나 나도 긴두부터 덴디 슈사스는 긴두부터 비게피 아니 디닝가 돼야다 김상게 너무도 졸려 손주는 그랬어 근데네 덤버되는 그랬어 이게 참으로 빨리게나 되는 그랬어 아니 덤버되야다 손주도 고등 알아도 미다버되는 순 그랬어
소체나 thank you okay Venerable Pragyalok
Yes.
what about the umbrella can you short explain
Yeah. Umbrella is very important for the raining. You have to put it very simple, and when it is very hot sunshine, you have to protect from the right? So therefore, that's how the umbrella means, use of umbrella means. But as Venerable Priya Rakkhit talked about the death ritual, right? I would like to say some additional things. This is a very practical Theravada traditions, but of course now differ from country to country. In Sri Lanka, different. Burma and Thailand, Cambodia, Laos, very much different. But as far as the original death ritual is inviting Sangha, and the white cloth is very important to offer in the name of the Sangha to transfer the merits to the person who passed away. So that is the white cloth, we call it Panzerkula. Panzerkula. So Panza means Panza means earth. What do you call that? Panzerkula. Anyway, I will explain in a different way. In Nepal, especially when a person dies, right? So we collect the clothes of that person and put into the four junction, where all the four junction, junction, all the roads meet in one place. That is called a junction, right? So one person in a family, especially the ladies, if a husband dies, the wife will take his clothes, right, and take into the four junctions. And that is what it is so-called Panzerkula. And in the history of the Sangha, Sangha has to take that clothes and we dye it, and we make it, we sew it, and we make it as a robe, right? So that is also one thing that reminding the death. This is actually the Priya Rakkhit briefly mentioned about the impermanency. So at the death ritual, we recite the 3 stanza, 1 stanza in 3 times. That is the, in Sri Lanka, as I mentioned, that they have 3 days chanting at least. Satipatthana Sutta. Satipatthana Sutta basically explaining about the meditation. So they chant that one, but at the time of the deity ritual, we recite only 1 stanza in 3 times. Anicca sankhara upadavaya dhammino upajetva nirodhanti tesang upasamo sukho. Beside long chanting in Thailand, Cambodia, and Laos, they chant Abhidhamma as well. But in Sri Lanka, they don't chant Abhidhamma. But at the deity ritual, only these stanza recite in 3 times. In Sri Lanka, all the Theravada countries recite this Anicca sankhara upadavaya dhammino upajetva nirodhanti tesang upasamo sukho. This is the stanza that we recite at the deity ritual.
Can you please explain to me the use of the umbrella again? I missed that.
Umbrella, that is now, as Priya Rakkhit said, in Bangladesh, they offer the umbrella, but not any other country. I don't see in Sri Lanka, I don't see in Thailand, and I don't see even in Nepal. But particularly, I see in Bangladesh, as I closely associate with this Bangladesh Buddhists here living in Massachusetts.
I see.
They offer umbrella as well, but there is no compulsory. There should be an umbrella at the deity ritual.
Thank you, Venerable. 아니 기실라 생도에
송도 코드
디스무도 공게 다단는 안도 생기 권리아 프리야 숨난다 체제 다 김장진아야 미传배급이야 응아람도 디 초비피아의 지 여러봐 이간이야 아니디 니도 저봐 니도디 방레데시게 김자도 무슨 셴버서디 니도 송도 다디 방레데시 주거르도 니도 피야 저봐 다 이간이야 넘베진이 주셔도 변화 땅아람도 넘규 김장진의 날이야 미 총소나 지난래 개치쇼되야다 굴러가버쳐 봐다 레가버치 진짜 디치그레스 능그레스 다디 레디 김잔디기 키지 랑가 시두가지야 바 키루레스 엔지마 디레디 긴두부초게 출린제 디 최게제 자제 쉬우레 레디 인지민지 미 전예디 남사 다디 가르레스니 긴두부초래 미다버 친구치야 된다레스 그래서 제 가버지 엔디 시두가지 이렇게 엔치도 최게 제제 자제 주도 좀 어디 말아서 근데네 미다버 거면이야 굴론치야 된다 그래서부터 데네 아니 디 답조 딩아라서 스리랑카도 도발에 임비나 냠니치야디 님숨 다도도야다 되는 냠니는 그래서부터 다디나야 된다 더 망고지 천송부터 디 냐탄도 더디게 천디게 콘소 발리게나 송구유자 디 말한 표현하냐 디 하고도 그런 넘겨도야 더죠 봐. 근데 디 공부 소야가 더도 망체 원배나 요랬습니다. 말한 넘겨 원배되나야 더디게 여러 어디게도 아니 되는 요랬습니다.
도제나 아니 다다다 빠지 메지 총화에나 아니 본보때 매번 이마 가세 빠른 소소 나와 샤워스나 소소가 빠나 약간 좀 나네면
The next question, how long do you keep the body at home before you cremate it?
So that is also different from country to country,
okay.
right? So in Nepal, we don't keep the body. If he can collect, we as soon as person dies, that the organizers will go to inform all the relatives that the person died, and we have to take the body to the cemetery. So in Nepal, we try our best to do on the same day. If person dies, during the daytime, we take the body to the cemetery and cremate, like that. But in Sri Lanka, they keep up to 3 days. And every day, monks are invited to chant the sutra, and they chant the sutra on the Satipatthana Sutra, discourse on the 4 foundations of mindfulness. That is all about that sutra. And so they do up to 3 days, and on the 7th day, Sangha venerable monks are invited home to offer food on the 7th day. But in Thailand, they keep up to the 7 days. And every day, monks are invited to come over and chant, especially they do chanting Abhidhamma. That is so-called Patthana. That Kusala Dhamma, Akusala Dhamma, Abhyagata Dhamma. So these are the terms of the chanting in Abhidhamma. So they do chant Abhidhamma, this is Patthana especially, for 7 days. And each monks are invited to chant the sutra. They also make an offering of the robes, right? So they keep on doing for 7 days. And so on the 7th day, again, they invite as much as they can. That also depend on the family, how many monks they really wanted to have it for that last day of that death ritual. And so like that, it different from country to country.
Thank you.
Not the same way.
Thank you.
다단의 기질라가 추어치는 저봐. 그래서디 총차수는 님을 가지고 샤벤치를 구분 님을 가지고 니를 쓰는 저봐. 이 지단 디르셔 말아서 그 계급부터도 봐. 롱부소소야 수익균 저금도 배유도 발려 임비는 구분의 니님가 풀어야 된지 주로 했습니다. 냥지 스루랑가도 봐 있는 님을 숨냐는 그래서 구분. 타는도 발려다 구분 야부터 세브 숨으서 몰음 되는도 님을 된지 되는 그랬습니다. 당한도 지단 진대지르샤 이 스루랑가도 발려 임은 이 님을 숨는가야다 초거되는 줄 봐. 디나야다 초거는 또 지금 더 챔피언이 샤딘스를 되는 그랬습니다. 근데 님은 듬부대야. 다 좋은 님은 듬부대야. 아니 초거대 같이 뭐 디닝가 되다 긴두면 망고 된지 수치제. 아니 이 긴두부 소리 님고 그것도 쓰는 그래서 디 스루랑카야. 타일랜드야 디 초거되야다 샤덴 주야지 님은 드 쓰는 것도 없어. 아니 님은 드는치나 디가블야 탄다 더 되야 되나요? 또 응원배는 좀 그랬어. 말하는 응원배도 해요 봐. 지금 봐. 아니 디가블야 아니 지 긴두부 소리야 양 단는 간저 가서랬다 자제 이제 교를 해서 아니 디 탤런트 바 있는 님은 좀 못해야 다 개비쇼던 좀 봐도 김장수서 조커를 되지 김장카지 임비는 그 긴두부배 망고된지시 공konsul 연구실에서 그냥 카지는 소소 조커된데 용체는 간다 롱거를 돼서 수규 만다도
Thank you. Priya?
I want to say one thing is I don't know how dead bodies are cremated in Tibet. Do you Do you burn the body, or there may be different ways, but in Theravada countries like in Bangladesh, Thailand, what I have seen is they cremate the body, they burn the body. Okay, so what Venerable Panyalokabanta said is right. Different countries keep it for different days, but in many countries, if it is the dead body of a monk, well-known monk, they keep the dead body for a long time, for even 1 year, 2 years, like that.
Yeah.
The dead body of a monk, they keep it long time. Another thing about the dead body ritual in Thailand is that they bring the dead body to the temple. So if they keep it for 2 days or 3 days, they keep it in the temple. Yeah, so the monks not go to their house, but the lay people come to the temple every day, and the monks do the chanting every day for the dead body. And actually many temples in Thailand, they have that, that equipment to burn the body in the temple. They have that thing, that electric thing. Many temples, they have it. So they bring the dead body to the temple, keep it for as many days as they want to keep it, do the ritual every day, and at the end, they burn the body in the temple.
Thank you.
Yeah.
다른데 디르샤 광야 그 프리야가 숨는 다치제 롱부소설이야 디저름도 와 지금 아니 비샤샤는 별이야 구분 그레스 디치비요레스 구분 메다든 요레 탑시 셴부 요레스 먼저 디 네덴 데벨로레 이노 구분 망체 shum부식레스 메다단체 아니 디 인도 잠바 하바도지 긴두부다 결론팀에기는 구분 shum부 마체고는 주주 정부니여 그래서 카직 로지즈네 니그레스입니다. 만져서 등도 가르여레스는 탤런트와 임비는 김자나야 미초함으로 봐. 구분도 권배나 수키용 지제. 아니 초가디에 강도 미만 구분대 권배나 수키용 탤런트야. 김자도 저 권배나 수용제 초가 상 권배를 하나냐 지치 그랬어. 마세지 권배나야 구분 shum부치야게 튕긴요레스. 구분대 슈부치스 대리야 권배를 하나냐 지치 그랬어.
Thank you. 다단한 간도 배배를 로설었다 저다 겐드임바데 아니 고모도와이나 양아도 투덤 쇼세드네 요래 대 요바나네 돈타니 숨들라야 아니 고볼라 라바 마차와체네 아니 간도 쇼부체 나고 마차네 쇼세야 된대 요래 아니 그부대 요래 뭐냐로 솔직히 요래 양 겐도바 카제가 아니 딱 구두랑 깜보소지 아니 다 메테코라냐 되거든 요거를 라마타치 못돼 요거를 다 미치마들이나 뇽탈랑아도 니마 숨라 나라냐 그래 아니 나 숨냐지 아니 드네 아니 가서 아니 메타타야 루소야 요래 아니 샤라테야 루소야 요래 야 아니 맞담니 냐라테 루소야 아니 텐텐이 루소 만나오래 간들 뇽탈라 니마 숨라야 아니 마체 소소 나라냐 되 그래 다 도도도 드네 사리
For the Tibetan tradition, we have a number of different traditions. It depends, who the subject is. For example, for the bhikkhus, the sangha members, when they passed away, and especially when they are high teachers, and when they are in meditative equipoise, after passing, they stay and remain in meditative equipoise. And for that purpose, we keep them from 2 to 3 weeks, and we would not touch the body. And so that's for the sangha members. Then another tradition after the post meditation or meditative equipoise is either you preserve the body and you create a special vessels, stupas and so on to keep them. This is for the precious teachers. For the ordinary the practices, for the ordinary people, we keep them at a minimum of 3 days at home. The corpse, we keep them at home. And there are different ways we really dispose the bodies. We call this sky barrier, where we chop the body and offer this to the bird. That's one tradition. We also do cremate. That's the second option. The third option, sometimes you chop the body and offer this to fish. So these are the various of the approaches that we use in Tibetan tradition.
Can I ask you, what practice do you do for people who pass away here in the US?
어린아이야 미토니에 중수는 아주 디 라긴 가르는 그랬어.
내가 가서 배우게 루스나지 제요 말이나 다 가서 강아 덥덥지 다 좋은 것도 물음들은 마모자게 그랬어. 아니 물음도 지다 상제고 소셔를 물음 다 나지게 다 수수기 아니 룩소서 그러면 라마텐데가 물음텐데 어떤 때는 가지 대화진이 제가 물음들이 제한테 물음 좀 그래. 먼저 물음때 아니 샤보 쉽지 셰글라 아니 인심이지 다 마음차게 좀 그래. 샤텐 소고 그래.
Here, because of the unique circumstances, we of course cannot implement the authentic Tibetan tradition. Regardless, we really still practice the prayer service, and that we fully implement. So most of the prayer services are actually the sutras that spoke by Buddha and the Buddha's teaching, and then on top of that we have the Tibetan tradition. So we will deploy some of the Tibetan originated texts, especially from the different lineage of teachers, the services that are prescribed by certain lineages and traditions within the Tibetan tradition, and we use these. So the main thing is our prayer is really focused on helping the deceased one to reborn in Pure Land. And then we observe the prayer services for 49 days.
아니 별에나 다 근데바 다 용탈에 시 아니 냐마따바 아니 시는 그래 샤보주 셰가 말해 봐. 다 너발라 드리면다 양 담담 샤보 드리긴 삼라 양 샤베네 치야데 다 너발라 가서 소술로마 나지 엔트지 온 뭐라. 가드라 되게 샤테 콜레 샤테 치야데 샤보주 셰가 방아서 봐요. 장 그래.
So here, as you mentioned before, we invite the Sangha community. And the Sangha community is composed of a minimum of 7 Sangha members, or just four Sangha members. And then we carry on the prayer services for 49 days. In Tibet, actually, you really do carry the prayer services for 49 days. And we do that every day. But here, because of the situation, we're not able to sometimes maintain these services every day. So what we do is like every 7th day, we perform the prayer services, and until for the 7th week, which is the 49th day.
오케이 다 파지 이 드는 드림으로 다 주주직도 제가 숨송 아니 딱 알아서 남주미 마수 샵때 가르쳐 됐다 다른 거 저칭도 내가 가서 내대 대회에 남이 나오는야 노전에야 추켜요 추대야 하얀들에 나라지 데르마들은 말루기도 직전에 대 가르쳐 그래.
Maybe now it's almost over hour and a half, so we will stop soon. I have a last question. In the Theravada tradition, you bring a water from a vase, and then you pour this water into some kind of a dish. What is that service for?
뭐카시 그때 배나 다 추들 라바 쓰면 많아 뭐들 라바 쓰면 맞춰서 라바 투가 지체도 돼 가르쳐 그래.
So when you offer the service, you touch your hand even to the water, regular.
그래.
So what is that? What is the significance of that service?
Either can do. Who can do? Say short, explain. Yeah, Bhikku Pragyalok. Oh yeah, Bhikku Priya.
So this is a symbolic expression, okay? And just like in Tibetan tradition, when you offer water to the Buddhist altar, you have 7 cups of water, 5 or 7, right? Every day you offer. the Buddha is not going to, accept that water, but we continue to offer. It's a form of practice of generosity, right?
Yes.
So that's a symbolic practice. Actually, what you said is when the water is pouring
Yeah.
one cup to another, right? There, when it is done, you must have seen there is also a recitation.
Yes. Yes.
There is a chanting or recitation of a text. And the meaning of the text is like this. It is saying that just like when water is coming from the mountain or higher ground, it is going down, right? If there is water from a higher ground, it's always going down. So in the same way, the understanding is that through any good action that we have done, if there is any merit, we hope that we can share this merit with our relatives who passed away and who may be born in lower realms, like in hell realm or animal realms. If they need any merit, we hope that this merit or this blessing will be shared with them. So that is the recitation that is being chanted when this is done. The reason why everybody is touching this is, again, a symbolic expression that all the people who have taken part in this religious service just now, they are sharing their merits. So they are all taking part in this. You see, so that is their participation. By participating in this symbolic expression, first of all, they feel good that they are sharing their merit with the relatives who passed away. Second, they also feel good that they are doing something. They take part in this. They are doing something, even though their relative passed away and is no more with them, but they feel good about taking part in doing something for the person who passed away. They still feel connected and they still feel like they are doing something for them.
Thank you. 단지 기실하게 소야게 군주 내된 디벨로리아 라간이게 한도체 뇌제 지네 뇌제 셴부질이야 출루야 저봐. 이 남들이 저도 말한도 다 되게 긴장하려 미처음으로 봐. 진짜 집에 거기야 저도 가래서는 말한도 추디 아니 강르네마 시절로 막 법인으로 봐. 간에 볼인도 좀 봐. 디능다 제 말한도 단도부터 소남다 기와사요 봐. 디상교 디기 아니 개디 말한도 다 빙게하다 전예디 아니 때도 개와든데 마블야 내유이네 아니 수수수남디 아니 전예디를 받지못한데 남규 중국 요리사 당가란조 디나려 변의 김자나려 연예 창망로 추디도 스파 여제 셴버나 로드 좀봐 다 디나 연예기 년의 분지 디게 창망로 수수 다도도 사생교 개와디 전예디려 받지못한데 딜령와 제번한다 지지 아니 전예디 다지기 치미개와 야부질이야 진짜지기 넘버 2야 또 신는 거 요래송도 아니 디인도 잠바다 디 미창망로에 다 추뉴들이 라고찬지 루야 미창매 디나야 또 예수님디 전예디 내 가와이 예수님디 가와이 내라 예수님디 그러냐네 집었던 마음구나 그거와 야부질이야 뭔 그거래서
Thank you. Okay, Venerable Pragyalok, maybe you can lead us to short meditation, then we will stop. Can you lead us a short meditation?
Yes.
아니 그저 판길로 올량아도 돼야 아니 타면 돼야 아니 고함치 님보 나로지스 기로지스
So, in the terms of Buddhist meditation, we have two methods. One is shamatha, tranquility meditation, and vipassana, insight meditation. So we as a beginners, we have to start with the shamatha meditation because we have to keep our mind into one-pointedness. That is the shamatha meditation. Keep the mind into one-pointedness because the mind is always wandering. Mind is always traveling. mind is always busy. So when you keep the mind always busy in that way, we cannot tranquil our focus. So therefore, in the samatha meditation, we encourage the yogis or meditators to keep the mind into one-pointedness. So therefore, we start with the breathing meditation. Breathing in and breathing out, breathing in and breathing out. So another word is inhaling and exhaling, inhaling and exhaling. So whenever you do breathing like this, you first touch on the tip of the nose. When you breathe in, you feel the cold air sensations. So you feel that and you concentrate the cold sensations on the tip of the nose. And when you breathe out, you feel the hot sensations. And you concentrate that you feel hot sensations on the tip of the nose. So just keep the mind onto the tip of the nose without sending out, without letting it wander. So this is the first and the most important practice as a beginners, to keep and control the mind into one-pointedness. So now there are, of course, 40 different types of methods of meditation explained in the Buddhist text. But this is the very important how, and it is also very easy rather than taking so many other external things, because we breathe each and every time. From the time of we were born, we start breathing. Whether we breathe it consciously or unconsciously. But when we say that breathing meditation, then we sharply focus and concentrate that I'm breathing in, I'm breathing out, I'm breathing in, I'm breathing out, I'm breathing in, I'm breathing out. Like each breath, you have to focus it, and especially as I mentioned, on the tip of the nose, that how you feel in and out. So this is what the samatha meditation, and in vipassana meditation is much more deeper than the samatha meditation. Samatha meditation, as I said, just to control your mind, just to tranquilize your mind into one-pointedness. But in the vipassana meditation, it's much more broader, because now when we take to the concentration on the whole body, you come to feel the different sensations. Sometimes you feel the pleasant, sometimes you feel the unpleasant, sometimes you feel neutral. It doesn't matter, whatever you feel, you concentrate on. So, and in the terms of concentrating in that way, that feeling does not stay as it is. It changes rapidly. It changes frequently. You don't have any control because the nature of impermanency. So this is what the vipassana means. So vipassana does not focus onto the one-pointedness as in a samatha meditation. In vipassana meditation, we try to understand three natures of our body, that is impermanency and suffering, and that is no self. No self means I don't have any control of either impermanent or suffering. Impermanent also changes all the time. That's why Buddha said, the world is just like that. You cannot touch twice on the same river. It flows all the time. Likewise, this body also changes all the time. Every moment, even if it's difficult to say whether it is second by second, even if you talk the second, that is also something like you are counting. You cannot count the river, how it goes. So likewise, our body also changes rapidly, continuously, without stop. So therefore, this is the nature of impermanence. So in the vipassana meditation, so-called insight, actually vipassana means the special seeing. We means the prefix, the terms for special, and pasana means to see, to special seeing. So therefore, the terms vipassana means to see, special seeing of this nature of the body, impermanency and suffering, and there is no control, or that is no self. There is no so-called atma or self. So anyway, you may give the different term. So this is the this is what so-called shamatha and a Buddhist vipassana meditation in the terms of Theravada tradition.
Thank you. 아니 총수지 봐주셔나?
also 아니 다 단다 샴리아 먼저 디네덴 데벨로리아 곰강에 냠니 가르는 거래서 좋아지는 도와 아니 곰강에 냠니 조데 가래스나 신에다 학동 더 신에디 고버조데 가래스나 로지직 주비하게 니규진데 제 안디나네 ngaranzu 네덴 데벨날이야다 균식이 가서를 균주를야 냠니조디 uk동린체디 냠년난지 신에 주고 요레스 딘디 우 동린체베 걸령랑저 셈디 너부기 탄데 우마 텐스다 텐세 제대 샤나제 디 초와디간야 아니 우마 등주 점마 직다 천왕량랑 우 차부 좀 하고 요 우야 딘디 우 정무 제제야 딘데 다 그래간야 아니 셈샤 제제 미유조디 셈 지직 주야레스 아니 지당아랑저 좀 되게 신의 주비아 토리아 탑시 팀제 패진 10줄 학습인데 송도스 아마도 내den데변을야 투문기 착신나야 조디 우동리간야 셈샤지 신의 주비아제 다디 용다레스 근데 우드 담백을야 다 우마도 던지 좀 당아 우 등구 제 셈디가 사마로 우강샤 우야 팀도 당아 우야 팀기 제 셈디가 강로 우강샤제 등기 광슈 나다 제 셈데 너부 제대야 샤제 그 우데 야팀의 총안디야 이거는 전부 샤지제 또도치 지금 신체적 주가들레스 아니 학과동안도 우드 담백을 옆에 전부 지직 들어가는 샤지 심자와 니는 마인 제제 도대야 되다 말한서 고버치셔들레스 신체적 주가들 아니 디지스리아 탄데 비파사나 스마탄 학동 학동디다 디 신의 주 차네 아니 활동관량을 뒤치듯 관계를 활동디베 때다 가서를 띵서모 아니 조든 말한 줄 활동 주비야디 때 시럽 주비야체 디 인도 잠바 디간야 아니 지 토마 신의 야부도 좋은 사장 다 신의 배주 단제 활동관량 삼던디 잠바 아니 배샤샤는 말한 줄 활동디 초화관이야 아니 제 서로관량 샤인도 잠바 다 초화디 진의 질교 투가야 초화디 초화 기부 소화 도부 소화 땅은 진짜 윤주잖아 봐 아니 안에서 셈네 다디 소화디 기부르도 다디네 파도 볼 교수 다디네 땅님 차송 지제 말아서 지금 소화 파도 유럽부터 졸이야 아니 지금 수수 셈네 거직 하고 체네 这个歇心式的吧，当然做的，他呢歇心培育当中，到超爬都够多。然后就旅馆呀，当然做，这老中上面当面个呀，旅的，你这个米大吧，东那个人心音吧，你大面吧，听着上当人就上吧，你做的看的是呢，他当然做这个老中培育当中，你两面前边个呀，当然做上万面吧，当然做旅不都做那嘞，他这个东那个他可能就找不着的。今天我米大不赢吧，第一就他就旅的做那米大吧，东人就早年我做了这上万民都是，就上万民不的呢，写不起来，他都是他跟公布有的，原来的这么这么的这个，你嘛你就搞了别开始不是重要的是，我让做你决定的呢呀，越在他米大不的，米大不人性的，他主动就是这是，别吃啥呢，张不几个去那呀，刚不天你就早年土嘛的是，可能从去的有这个吧。진행당 말하면서 지금 가발 나가 차비네 되게 상만 좋아지고 그랬어. 말게 말하면서 지금 나가 투스도 지 제마 돼요 말했어. 좋아진 사업했어. 이게 미다베 배야고지. 이게 미다베 때 말하면서 지금 학동지 저 사무들이 미다폴에 말하면서 지금 까무토 봐. 지금 미다베 지금 가수를 따고 써야 매 봐. 원 진짜 지금 지금 지금부터 시베 진짜 간에 사무다 이제 관계하다 당도 제공다. 그래도 딜리아 당도 학동 수레스 비파사 삼바 아니 학바 믹스 학바 투스죠 봐 아니 사나스니도 톰바 학동 원진데스 제도 제시 경우도스 엔디나려 타는 거죠 다음에 간야 사무던 그래스 디 아트마 삼바 단다 아니 런싱이 뭐도 라와메 양 진데 간야 지금 안zo 这个 Kansas 你要过这个人性的么子，真这个样子上面等的，但我就好多个工程就管大起来是。
안에 도대체 안에 답변에서 야보 종송 다 드링가서 런리 치야테 다 지금 다 미게 지금 레 담보와 지금 미마가 상부 따다 걸려야 아니 미마가 지금 제단레다 걸려 런리 치와래 야보쇼 종송 내려는 감정은 담미 뭐보절이야 아니 로조변은 가라다고나 그만 마시고 뭐보시서 뭐불을 패요 상도 아니 그런이라 도대체 쉬어야이 그때도 그래 도대체 쉬어야이.
So thank you, venerables, and this is a very informing and useful, really teaching, and we try to understand how the ordinary practitioners, the householders, practice in the Theravada tradition, and you provided us this wonderful information, and thank you again.
아니 다 게레발라 단다 주마 양가도 되지 젠딘 콜라야 땅가도 나추랑기 지기 한로 소소 룩소 만다 같은데 콜라야 아니 계란이게 양가도 트트 같다 아니 가도 야다 돌리랑지 아니 찍찍 태바도 찍못 태바지 소소 룩소 강하게 받은 가도 마시에 되지 제기 야 계란이 안줘 되지 서로 나와서 여자리였어.
And we would like to invite you again another session in which we really talk about our traditions, what we practice, and what are the common ground, what are the differences. And that would be wonderful, and please join us again.
All right, we have comparative studies between our two different traditions into one path.
제가 안에 나도 두체 봐 돈을 지나가도 타마 다 데리랑가도 제단 레다 뭐뭐 직접 직전도 와 아니 직 로탄로다 마보시고도 와.
So you go with a big vehicle. You go with a big vehicle. We go with a small vehicle.
제가 나도 대지 들고 걸어야 안에 사마 따다 걸 돈이 지나 빼야 봐.
Mahayana means great vehicle. You term Theravada means Hinayana, small vehicle. So we travel a small vehicle.
So I think in the future it would be really wonderful that have this kind of dialogue and a discussion about how each tradition bring a unique services, and that would be wonderful.
자기 배낭도 개론도 배낭도 배외 루슬라 개론 마다와나 안에 섬자 두시립시 아니 개론 들리지야도 다때스 고 루소다 마다와들이 당가도 주마텔야 아니 아주 아니 돈이 나게 투지체
And in the future, we like to talk about the Bhikku need, where the nuns observe over 364 precepts. So these kind of the discussions that we like to, hold in the
You
future.
have 364
Yes, the
for
Bhikku need.
Bhikkhuni rules, for the Bhikkhuni rules.
Yes.
And 253
Three.
rules.
Yes.
So in the Mahayana traditions, monks and nuns are more troublemakers than the Theravada.
민송도 그래서는 말하면서 지금 대부 준비를 놓으려 돈보다 망도 왔어. 망인도 좀 대부 첨부를 긴두고 쉬었다. 긴두만 다도 대 추비가 다 됐어.
That is inseparable.
Yes, I think I agree. That's the possible.
아니 다 데려가도 돼. 아니 샤위에 아니 모두 가라 메모못 다 되지. 아니 땐데가 가도 펜도 뭐 붙여요래. 아니 두지체 아니 원보 프리야게 땅가도 데리 가사베 게사대 모르자. 모르나스.
And we have a lot of visitors on the Facebook. I mean, this really brought a lot of benefit to many people. So we like to conclude this with the Venerable Priya to do us a dedication prayer.
So thank you so much for arranging this, and also to all the visitors listening to us and watching us on Facebook live stream. I will just say something in English in wishing blessings to all of us here, that during this pandemic, during this discomfort that the world is going through, that all of us are going through, may we all have the patience and the strength and resilience to face the difficulty together, and have good relationship with each other, within ourselves, and have the strength to practice spiritual practices and stay together, stay connected. And may we all overcome this pandemic strongly together. Thank you all so much. All of you have a good day.